really wonderful.
Can you take that on mute?
Okay. Before we get started, I did want to just share with you a little bit about the week that I've had, which has been like amazing. Such an amazing week. I went to Sydney last week and we had the pleasure of celebrating our four new executive sales directors. So we had four executive sales directors elevate at the end of last year. And we had a retreat as a special recognition for the incredible hard work that they did in order to achieve that. So we had Rick and Adam Buechner there. We had Kathy Duncan from New Zealand, and we had the lovely Lucia Cardamone. It was fantastic to spend time with you, Lucia. And I just thought, while we've got everyone here, how good would it be for you just to share a little bit about what we did, and what was your takeaway? Because it was just like I wasn't one of the recipients. It was just an amazing week. So, yeah.
It was thanks, Catherine. Look, it really was off the charts. It was, I mean, from the moment I got to Melbourne Airport, I had a phone call from the driver who was picking me up at the airport to introduce himself, his name, and if I needed to speak with him, and where he'd be located when I got to Sydney Airport. Like, it was just non-stop from the moment I got there, and we got picked up in the most beautiful limo, and got taken to the hotel, which look, Crown hotels, they're not really hotels that I would normally stay at, because I'm not very much into gambling at all. And so, I've got this mental switch off that, I don't go to Crown, and so I get there and it's just absolutely beautiful, beautiful hotel, the facilities. I mean, the meals were off the charts. It really was not 5-star, it was 6-star. Wasn't it, Catherine? The food was absolutely spectacular. So all of those niceties, I don't know how long you want me to talk for, but I could talk probably all night about it, but I won't. But really, that night was lovely. We had dinner together, but the next day really was the highlight. Going to the office, being taken to the office, having Imelda there, spending that just one-on-one time with just the four of us and Imelda, and just, reconnecting at that heart level, like really just, what it was that had them inspired to even send the letter to respond, that whole, when the ad was placed in the newspaper, when, Nobby put the ad in the Sydney newspaper, and what had Imelda, they were in a crisis. Her and Bill were really in a crisis with their own business when they saw that ad. It's like, that sliding door moment where you think, what have I got to lose? Here's this opportunity. Why don't I just send my application? And they didn't hear for months, from Mr. Nobbs, and Lee Trent was the other gentleman. So Lee Trent was the man that headed up Nutrametrics in Canada. He was actually a film actor. He played the Lone Ranger in the movies. So he was very tall, handsome. And so when they, what I got reminded about when Imelda actually said, I'm thinking, that's right, like they were in a crisis when they actually made that application, and then just, sent it to the heavens, if you like. And lo and behold, they got a response. And then from there, they put their hearts and souls into Nutramedics. And I really mean it. Those of you that know Bill and Imelda, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They really did put everything into, and just being reminded about some of those things, and just, it was just spectacular to spend that time. But all the staff, did a guard of honor when we arrived at the building. And, not that got tickets on yourself that you think, I'm so wonderful, but just that acknowledgement, even for the staff themselves, to because many of them wouldn't even know Imelda, you know, for them to have had the opportunity to meet Imelda. It was wonderful to meet the customer service people. I mean, the people that we speak to all the time, Sophie and Tracy and Ketty, you know, like the different ones, Angela, that come up and do different things for us to really connect with them and, you know, be able to, you know, have our skin on skin and hug each other. It was just fantastic. I mean, Sophie was just incredible. And just the, you know, the opportunity to have such beautiful time with you, Catherine, and also with Nikki and Ashley and Linda, you know, just to get to know all of you guys and the things, some of the things that you go through to have us be and do the things that we do. It was just really wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful to have spent that time with you, Catherine. Yeah. So
no, it was a pleasure, Lucia, and again a big congratulations, because I know that, you know, to get to executive sales director level is, you know, a mammoth task, and, you know, and it's just well you know, well deserved for you. I think
well,
for all
it's
the
the
work that
team.
you've
It's not, you know,
absolutely.
and I get that. I get that it's, you know, it's us that get to, you know, drive the cars and earn the income and all. But it's not my award. It's our award. You
Yeah.
know, it's Julie, it's Helen, it's Jackie, it's everybody that's, you know, in it, and it's everybody else that's on the screen as well. It's the kind, thoughtful things that Dawn and David say to our people anytime they're sitting in a room. It's, you know, any time that Jeanette's spending time with her girlfriend Chris. It's any, you know, every single person, you know, whether you're in our team or not, in Global Traveller Girls or not, everybody contributes, you know, the things that you say, the words that you say, the posts that you make, the acknowledgement, the hug that you give, I mean, every single one of you contribute to our success. We all contribute to each other's success. And I thank each and every one of you for everything that you do and who you are. You know, we're all ambassadors for each other. You know, every time I drive into, you know, well, I used to drive to Bendigo, you know, I know that, you know, it's Dawn and David that were the ambassadors, that, you know, you're aligned with people of incredible caliber and standards and ethics and values. And we represent each other every time we hop in a car or do an event or, you know, speak at a charity event. Yeah, we represent each other. So I thank each and every one of you. Yeah.
Beautifully said, Lucia. And I think that that's just what it is. It's a community, isn't it? It's all of
Yeah.
us supporting each other and linking arms. So, yeah, just yeah, I can't say that I could have said it any better. You articulated it beautifully. So, but I think that's what it is. And I wanted the girls, you know, on the call, not just the managers, but, you know, like, you know, people that are thinking about Nutrimedics. You know, it's not just about, you know, achieving certain status levels. It's about everything that comes along with that, and that is about, you know, not only, you know, meeting the staff, but, you know, the staff are there. Without all of you, we would not have jobs. And that has always been a, you know, very much something that we've said internally, that we are there to serve, because without anyone, you know, in the field, we don't exist either. So it is about us all linking arms and doing it together. And I think that's why, you know, doing the development group, going through this course and just sort of highlighting, you know, what Nutrimedics can do for you. And just, you know, again, a bit like the Beauty Academy yesterday, you know, for many of you who have been in the business for a long time, you know, a lot of that information wasn't new. It's just sometimes we need reminding, or sometimes we need a refresher of what we already know. And I think that certainly, you know, with the business, the development group that we've put together, hopefully it's just an opportunity to just refresh what we know, to reinforce what we know, to validate what we know, and to perhaps just have the confidence to move forward with what we have. Because sometimes we do tend to take things for granted, you know, because particularly if we've been in the business for a long time or we've used the product for a long time, but it's just a chance to sort of refresh and just see. So on that note, I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started. So can everyone see that? See my screen? Yes? Thumbs up? Yep. Okay, cool. Let me just see if I can move it there. Right. So I just hope If for those of you who joined us last week, so this is our second of our 5 little modules. I just want to check in and see, how did you get on, like creating your vision board? I know the goal was to create a vision board and also look at what your goal is that you want to achieve in the next month for your NutriMedics business. So perhaps some of you on your call, I can see Judith and Vanessa and a few of you, Jackie, if you want to pop in the chat. And if you don't want to share, that's absolutely fine. But if you feel comfortable enough to share, what your goal is, that would be fantastic. Because, again, we're here to help you and all support you in achieving that. So, so see how you go. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable popping it in the chat, I hope you've had the chance to talk with your upline and just share with them what you're wanting to do, because it is about linking arms and working together on that. So I wanted to start off today with just sort of looking at all the ingredients you need to create a successful business. And, and these won't be new to a lot of you, but I think sometimes it's about delving into like why we do things a certain way, because, and again, sometimes we do things a certain way because we've always done it. But is that the right way, really, moving forward in terms of getting the most out of your business? So I want to just take you through, a few things. Like we're going to be looking at workshops, we're going to look at lead generating and sponsoring. But I thought this was a good little quote to start with, because, I think that, often when we start something or we want to attempt something, we feel we need to know everything about that. Even if we're talking about a product, for some people, they feel they need to know everything about that product. I'm just going to get someone just to mute themselves. There's just a little bit of feedback. I think it might be Judith and Native Beauty. I'm not sure who you are, but if you could just mute yourself, that would be appreciated. So I think, like really, if you love something, if you are incredibly passionate about it, if you have a big goal and are super excited about it, really it's 90% of what you do and how you achieve things is about your attitude. And then 10% is skill, because you can always learn on the job. And I think, particularly with our product, we feel that we need to know everything about it. We've got to have a complete range of, all the skincare or all the color, when actually we don't. And I think, if you have, a range of products that you love, and it might be one skincare program that you absolutely love, then work with that one skincare program, and share it. I know that there are many things myself personally that I have tried, or I have bought, or I have viewed, or I've, gone and done research on, because I've been advised by a friend and, and someone that I trust. So whether it's a work colleague or a friend or a family member, and, and I'm sure that, you are very much in that same position with your work colleagues or your friends and your family. And it's your excitement and it's your energy that you bring to what you're talking about, or that particular product, that really makes them think more about why they would want to try it or use it or give it a go. So I want you to be thinking about that you don't have to know, you don't have to know everything there is to know about everything. Sometimes it's just taking that excitement and that energy and applying it to what you're doing and finding your joy. And I talked about that last week as well. It's really about understanding what brings you joy, because if you work with something, whether it's product, whether it's people, whether it's doing a particular workshop, then you'll keep doing it, right? If you're following, like if you're looking at reporting and you're monitoring something that doesn't bring you joy, then work out what does. Like we talked about looking at, your sales and looking at monitoring that. So for many of you, it might just be writing your weekly sales that you've done on a daily basis in your diary and not having a big spreadsheet. Sometimes we think, we've got to do the spreadsheet and we've got to do everything, a certain way. We actually don't. We've got to do it a way that works for you, because if it works for you, then you'll keep doing it. And I think that's the key message here, is about do something that brings you joy so you keep doing it. Otherwise, you'll always find hurdles, or there'll be, reasons why you don't do it. Wouldn't you agree? Is that something that you sort of like we've all can relate to at some stage? So the only thing with going screen, I can't really see all your beautiful faces. So I feel like I'm just talking to a, like a PowerPoint, which is really unmotivating. So I've just changed so I can actually see a few of you now. So that's good. So I thought we'd start with looking at workshops. And look, I call it workshops, but I think really workshops can be one-on-ones, facials, they can be U+2s, it could be a skincare update, it could be a girls catch up. Think about what do you want to call it that actually resonates with you. Because if you don't feel comfortable using the word workshop or using the word U+2, which is obviously you and two people, you've got to find what you feel more comfortable offering people. So again, I guess tonight is about throwing a whole lot of different ideas at you. And during that time, I want you to sort of perhaps write down things that really resonate with you in terms of, yes, I like the sound of that. That could work for me. And in the process, you're actually creating a little bit of a recipe for your business, because we all have a different recipe for our businesses. Wouldn't you agree? Like what works for one person isn't going to work for another, purely because they might not be in a position to be able to have people come to their home, or they might feel more comfortable going to someone else's home. So it's actually understanding what works for you. But workshops, why do we do them? It's about income, and we know that we make the most amount of money with personal sales. So I think when you're trying to build your business, it really is important to be able to get the personal sales, because then you're earning that income. It's all very well getting a whole lot of rewards and sponsoring up a storm, but there does need to be a balance. And I do believe that I look at a Nutrimedix business like a seesaw. There's two sides to it. There's a team and there's personal sales. And if you are always doing personal sales and no sponsoring, your seesaw is going to get out of balance. If you're just sponsoring and not doing personal sales, then again, you're going to get out of balance. So it is a case of looking at the number of customers you have based on what do you get on average with personal sales versus what do you need in terms of numbers in your team to get team sales, so that you can balance that out. So workshops definitely offer income. They also offer the opportunity for you to be in front of people that you don't know, because behind every person are 5 people you don't know, right? And then if you can book with other people that you have just met at that workshop, then you can imagine how you start to sort of create these threads in your business. So you're going into different areas, meeting different people, perhaps putting a little incentive in there. If you're going down the same group of friends and you're having a workshop, and then someone in that group is having another workshop, and you're finding that the same people are attending that workshop, then it would be an opportunity to perhaps do a little incentive with that hostess to invite, 3 or 4 different people that haven't come to a Nutrimedix workshop or skincare update or colour classic workshop, so that you can then start to expand on the people that you're connecting with. So it's always good to sort of understand in your diary, if you're rebooking with certain people, how do you sort of break that up so that you're starting to go down a different pathway of new people? Because, often people will keep buying, and then at some point that those sales are going to start reducing because you've sold as much as you can to those people. So just be really mindful of that. Obviously, as I said, with workshops, it does give you the opportunity to sponsor. Now, I'm a big believer, and different people have different opinions on this, but I do believe that when you're at a workshop, or you're at a colour workshop or a skincare workshop, whatever you want to call it, that you take that sale. So you take the sale, you process the order that that person is, and then that unlocks the opportunity for those people to open their own account moving forward. and you can obviously offer that to them once their order has been delivered to them, for them to then purchase their product at a deeper discount moving forward. But you need to be weighing it up and understanding, what bucket do you need to fill right now? Is it your customer bucket? Is it your sponsoring, your team bucket? And so really everyone that you meet should go into one or the other bucket. So if you choose to not offer the opportunity of them opening their own account, then they become a customer. No one should come to one of your workshops and not be a customer or become a VIP. And I've seen that many times, that people have sort of slipped through the cracks. And I think, what, you've spent time, you've built a rapport with that person, they've trusted you in terms of the recommendations that you've made with skincare and color. So they should just automatically become a customer, and then you can choose who you wish to offer the opportunity to open their own account, or whether they stay a customer. And that could be based on, where they live, their age, their current situation. You have to be the one that determines that and makes that call. But as I said, with workshops, so you can obviously sponsor, or you can obviously get additional workshops. And so at every workshop, you should be asking who would be interested in booking another workshop. And again, we have fantastic hostess rewards. So, make sure that you have those. I've always been a big believer in getting those, laminating them, having them sort of sitting around, whether it's a placemat or, on your display, because it's sowing the seed, and people are visual. And if you don't have that visual, picture or the offer, then people aren't going to know what they don't know. And often when you're at a workshop and you're diagnosing someone's skin, or you're recommending particular colors, it's a really busy time, and so you sometimes can find that you don't cover everything you want to. So it's really good to have some visual stimulators sitting around to just sow the seeds. So someone might be looking at something. Now, I always used to laminate back to back, because I was always a believer that if someone was holding up a bit of paper reading it, then I wanted someone sitting across from them to see what was on the back, and to be so just be really clever in the way that what literature you have sitting around and what you have on display, so that it becomes a topic of conversation. If someone asks you a question of, or you bring it to their attention, just go, by the way, ladies, I would love to be able to, if you're doing a skincare class, I would love to come and do, an everyday makeup look with you. And that's what I absolutely love doing. It's really simple, it's really effective, and I can obviously color match you that's going to use a foundation that's going to suit your lifestyle and your skin, blah, blah, blah. You come up with your own words. But and I'm a big believer that, it's about, and I know that, all the managers that are on the call, you're all the same. It's about creating a learning environment, not a selling environment, which is really interesting, because when you look at Sephora and Mecca and all of those places right now, they are doing exactly what we do. So you go outside Sephora and they've got brow bars, and they're doing, and they're charging and doing brows. Sorry, it is a cup of tea. So, I think what we've got to do is, we have been doing workshops, consultations, U+2s, whatever we want to call them, for 50 plus years. And the retail have just been selling. So they have just been in a selling environment. And now they realize that customers want more than that. They want that personal recommendation. They want that personal touch. And we talked about that yesterday with the Beauty Academy, how people, people get a lot out of you actually touching them. Now, it's probably changed a little bit since COVID, because people, we do a lot of workshops and people do their own face, do their own facial and that. So really, I guess it comes down to the number of people that you're working with and what works best for you in terms of how that works. But I think it still comes back to that personal recommendation, that people feel that they're heard, that they're listened to, that, you know, they're not one of many, but they are, you're specifically recommending or diagnosing their skin, so they can walk away and feel like, you know, you haven't recommended the same skincare range for absolutely everyone because you've listened to what I've said. You've asked me those questions. And I think those workbooks that we got yesterday are amazing in terms of the questions that we need to ask and, you know, and closing that sale. So always at the end, you know, be talking about, you know, we do have the opportunity at the end of this for some retail therapy. And I love it saying like that because then it doesn't sound like you're selling. So, and then you would just bundle up what you've used on, you know, throughout the course of that workshop, and you would be sharing that with them. And that's, you know, because the thing is too, what we are so good at giving so much away, right? And we don't value necessarily what we're offering, but our sets are already discounted so much. I think what we've got to do is you can make up some wonderful bundles with the brochure and with the beauty edit. So just be mindful of what you're offering. And I'm sure all of you have got a bag from the clearance sale that you can pop in. And I know that's what a lot of managers do. They'll buy a couple of bags and they'll, you know, put together a bundle and they'll put in that extra. It's amazing what one bag, what a difference that can make to a skincare collection. Wouldn't you agree? Julie, I know that you do a lot of things like that. You know, it's just like you're bundling it up. So, but workshops are definitely the way to go. And I think while we can do a lot of things online, while we can, you know, obviously on the phone, servicing our customer service, you know, our customers with great customer service, workshops are the way to go. And I think, as I said, just pick a small, you know, collection of product if you don't feel confident having a lot, and share that. Even ask people if you could just get together with a couple of their friends because you want to practice on them. Like, I'm just trying this new workshop. I'd love to be able to just do a little practice on you guys. Would you be able to help me out? Because I think we can, you know, I call it calling on the emotional bank account, because if they're good friends and customers, then there's no reason why they're going to say no. And that way you feel like if you didn't do it 100%, and only you're going to know that, they're going to be none the wiser, are they? You know, because we think that we have to be perfect sometimes, and we sure don't. In fact, I think it's better when we're not, because then we're real and we're being authentic, rather than perfect. But Lucia, after that, you know, that facial you did yesterday, next time I'm in town, I'm booking in with you. I love the idea. I was just like, yes, I want to
Well,
start.
it was
Yeah.
a little, you know, because I was standing in front, you know, and also because Chris's chair was so high, I couldn't
Yeah.
stand behind her and actually, you know, pamper the way that we love to do that. You know, when you're
Yeah.
standing behind and you're able to really spoil someone with that full hand massage, it's just beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, no, you did a beautiful job. It was like, and you know what I loved about it is that it was simple enough that if you've never done it before, you could actually practice and just get that down pat. So, you know we asked all of you as a little challenge to go and do some facials in the next week, at least 3, because I'm a big believer is that we can do a lot of, you know, learning, and we can, you know, read lots of things, and we can study, and we can do all of that. But you know what? If we don't take it out of our notebooks, if it just stays in the notebook, then it's of no consequence to anyone, is it? So it is about you applying that, and, you know, and to your, you know, do it to your husband. He would love it, I'm sure. He would never admit that. Mine would never admit that, but he would love it. You know, or your sister, or your mum, or your neighbour. So there's lots of people you can practice on. But I think it's about, you know, coming up with a concept, coming up with a theme, and that's where we've got our treatment folder, and that has just been refreshed, and that is in resources on N Central. And I would highly recommend that you go in there. We've got colour, we've got lots of different skincare options in there. And we've just popped in the Tween and Queen workshop too, which I absolutely love, you know, mum and daughter options. So, you know, and coming up with, and if you're not familiar with what, we've kept them fairly generic so that you can again create your own little workshop under that theme. And, you know, and on the back of it, there is a little a booking sheet that features all 6 or 7 of those different options. So instead of offering all of them, you might just tick 2 and go, look, for my winter menu, I'm just offering these 2 at the moment. So it might be the oil, you know, apricot oil infusion one, and it might be the teen and queen one. So just tick those and just offer those. That is, because I think sometimes when we offer everything, it's too much, and people are like, oh, okay, which one do I want? And so then they just don't make a decision quickly. So just tick them, you know, do a little pitch, just let them know that it's your winter, you know, menu or your winter options, and then obviously change that in spring, change it in summer, because it just refreshes it. And I think that often if we, and I know myself, if I'm doing the same thing over and over, I lose the joy in it. So I just want to shake it up sometimes and go, oh, need to try something a little bit different. But like our skincare, isn't it? But like our color, you know, like you can't wear the same makeup that you wear in summer and winter. So it's changing it up. And I think you've got to do that with your customers as well, you know, your clients at these workshops. And again, have them as little placemats so that when they sit down, they've got it in front of them. So that's doing a little bit of that, sowing the seed, and you're, you know, promoting a couple of workshops. Because if they're doing the apricot oil infusion one, they might go, oh my gosh, so when are you doing a color one? I'd love to do a color one, you know. But you've got to talk about it, because again, you know, and you've probably heard me say this a million times, you don't ask, you don't get. So we've got to be asking, we've got to be sharing what we're excited about, what brings us joy, what we can share with people, how we can make them feel. Because, you know, I mean, I had so much joy yesterday just watching everyone playing with that skincare, you know, and applying it and chatting and, you know, and meeting new people and perhaps talking to people that you know, hadn't had the opportunity to talk to before. But it was actually wonderful, and the energy in the room was fantastic. Wouldn't you agree? You could feel the energy just lift with everyone, you know, asking questions with each other, getting to know each other, trying the product. And, you know, and that's what it's about. So I think, you know, use the treatment folder as inspiration. You know, some girls are really creative and they'll go onto Canva and do all their own thing, but I'm like, it's all done for you. You don't need to waste time going, I'm like, oh, just use what we've got because it's great. So, and I think, oh, did I put the little, oh, yeah, it's covering. Okay, so sorry, here I am talking about which treatment, and it's on the slide. Sorry, all your beautiful faces were covering it. I couldn't see it. So that's what I would actually, you could just cut that and just have that as a little, you know, and you could even put that in or hand it out to everyone when they arrive or when they're sitting down, and just say, look, you know, just while we're going through this, you might want to just have a look at the 3 options that I've got available. But again, talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, it will just be lost with everything else. And bring it up a couple of times at the beginning and at the end, so that we can start to sort of get a lot more of those bookings in our diaries. So has anyone got anything to add to that that's worked really well for them? Any managers want to add anything in?
Catherine, the only thing just to add there is with the, you know how you mentioned that sometimes we forget to talk about something, is to use the treatment menu, which actually gives you the order to actually speak and to mention different things. So it just keeps, I know that it just keeps me on track. Like it just, because if you know, there's lots of people there, or you've been running, you know, like whatever has been going on for you before, if I have a running sheet, you know, like it just makes sure that you tick all the boxes and you don't miss anything, and you don't have people joining with somebody else because you did mention it at your workshop. Because sometimes when we don't talk about all 3 things that we actually sell, which is the products, the, you know, the booking, and also the opportunity, if we don't mention one of those for whatever reason, you've done all that hard work and, you know, put all that effort in, but someone else may benefit from someone joining with them rather than with you because you didn't actually mention it. That would be the only thing I'd add in there. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks, Lucia. And I 100%, and that's why I think, like, you need to be thinking if everyone, once you've got your customer base and, and look, I guess it's sort of like understanding, where that sits with your customers. But the thing is, if you don't ask and someone else does, particularly with international sponsoring happening now, it's anyone's, isn't it? So, but if you've got a really good rapport with your customers too, then I'm sure that if you didn't, if you hadn't asked them, then you would hope that they would come to you. But I think it is about making customers feel exceptionally special and valued, because without that, then they just, they will go to whoever gives them the attention that they desire at the time. So, I don't think we should take any of our customers for granted, because, I'm with, like Takuba and Witchery and, all of those places, and they just do emails after emails after emails. Well, you know what? I'm not loyal to any of them. But, if it was more of a, like, someone that I knew, like if it was I've got a friend that owns a shop just in the local village that I live in, and and I think, oh, actually I want to go to Emma, I want to be able to support her rather than some of these other big shops. And I think that's what we need to sort of get back to, creating more a community so that we're there for our customers, that they feel really valued and heard. And if you haven't contacted your customers in a long time, just ringing them and just checking in with them, just going, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happened the times. I mean, and I'm saying this for real, I don't even know where this year's gone. Like, I can't believe that we're coming to the end of May. And I'm like, the other day I had to go, I am in May and not in April. It was just sort of like a realization. It's just blurring past. So, yeah, I think it's just connecting with them. Even if you did it every 6 months, depending on your list, but every quarter would be ideal, so that they don't feel lost. Or, hey, look, I'm just placing an order. I know that you love, Restore night cream. I'm just placing it. How are you going with your stock? I've got a lady that I know, a manager, and she has got a customer base of about 63, does phenomenal personal sales, and basically she just gets on the phone. She doesn't even know particularly what they, she hasn't got like a list of, like, so Mary does Restore and Sally does Platinum. She'll just go, so what color is it? Is it purple? Is it yellow? Like, and is it in a tube? Like, yeah. So, and she says she just sits there in her PJs and she'll just get on the phone and chat to them. And honestly, the personal sales she does is phenomenal. And that's just because people love her. They know she's just going to get in there, ask what they want, have a little chat, but it's short, sweet, and she's off the phone. So we just need to be mindful of that. That people actually, they will answer their phone these days more so than they'll answer an email. I feel that it's actually done a big cyclical change. So just looking at, oh my God, don't tell me this is, you know what, after I talk for too long, it's like my PowerPoint freezes. It just drives me insane. Sorry, I'm just going to have to stop and go out for a minute and then go back in. My apologies. There we go. Okay, let's see if we're, no. Okay, going to do this one more time. Here we go. Right, we're going to go right down. Can we all see that? I think I might just keep it here. Sorry, so you're going to see the next slide, but it doesn't really matter. So that's all good. I do want to, oh gosh, okay, now I'm going too far ahead of myself. Lead generating as well, because like we can do a lot of, like, we can have our workshops and we can go for a period of time, with our family, our friends, our customers, work colleagues. And I'm a believer in doing business with people that I do business with. So my hairdresser, nail technician, those people that you can actually, if you're doing business with them, then you can sort of start by asking them to do business with you and, and do a little workshop. But, when you're wanting to grow and grow exponentially, it is important that you do lead generate. And as a new person coming into the business, even for an existing person that's been in the business for a while, it can feel really quite daunting, lead generating. And it's like, well, what does that look like? And and working with a number of people, some people I know just don't like doing expos because they don't feel that they get the return in it. It's not their thing, and that's okay. So it's like, find out what works for you to lead generate. But I think it is really important to understand the importance of lead generating. Because if you're wanting to grow your business quickly, then obviously you need to build your customer base quickly, but you also need to build your team as well. And sometimes even when you've got an established team, you do need to inject, some new business coming in, and that's going to come in the way of new consultants in your team. So, looking at local markets, they tend to be more inexpensive, where expos, there is a lot more cost involved. Now, with all markets and expos, there is a criteria that you do need to fill out a show stand form, and that needs to be submitted to head office. So if you are interested in doing a market or an expo, please talk to your upline and they'll be able to work with you on what that looks like in terms of, what the process is. So that head office, because it's really important for the company that we have one stand at each expo and market. We don't want to have multiple stands there and people offering different things. It becomes very confusing to people, that are attending that event, coming up and understanding if it's the same business. So, but what I love and what I'm really passionate about, and the girls are going to be like, oh my gosh, here she goes yet again, is fundraising. And I cannot tell you enough how, and I say this because I had a fundraising business for over 15 years. And I, obviously it was in New Zealand. And what I did is we imported swim bags and pencil cases and lunch bags and little yogurt coolers, and we bought them in from China, and we made these personal name labels and we hand wrote them. Oh my God, you have no idea. Anyway, but what we did is we approached schools and kindies, play centres, sports organisations, and they got a percentage of the sales. And as a result, they could, save for, sports equipment, or if there was in a sporting event that they needed to get funds for to go away, then they could do that. And with a lot of schools, we had them coming back every year, because once you get in with a school or an organisation and they understand the simplicity of what you're offering, then you will find that they will keep coming back. And it is a great, and again, it's building those relationships. So my thoughts are, we could offer, facial vouchers. So it could be for a colour workshop, it could be for a skincare workshop. And you need to establish what that cost would look like. So let's say we're saying $25 a ticket, for example. Then I would always recommend that you keep a portion of that, because you need to cover your product and your travel time. And there needs to be something in it for you. You're not just doing community service, because as wonderful as that is, it doesn't pay the bills. And you always need to be looking at what is, what's your, what is it going to cost you, and, what's the return. So I would recommend that you sell the tickets. You could set up a try booking or an Eventbrite link. You would give them the link. They don't need to worry about handling money. You would then show them the registration list, so you're being really transparent. You would give them, transfer the amount. So let's say they sold 20 tickets and they were going to get $10 a ticket. That's $200. I'm just making up that because it's really easy math for me. I've been traveling all day, so seriously, it's, joining the dots right now. And you can actually, so if you transfer that, they give you a receipt, you can actually claim that on your tax. I know that you can do that in New Zealand. I'm sure it's the same in Australia as well. But what that means is that you can then, if, let's say it's a sporting organisation, you might be able to use their club rooms when they're doing practice during the week. So the parents come, generally they've got to drop the children off, they've got to pick them up. How good would it be if you could do, a skincare or a little makeup workshop, within that time frame, and work at their club rooms? Often they have smaller rooms off the side. they get, they get the fundraising money. And I know right now it's really tough in terms of people being able to, perhaps I know over here and certainly in Australia, with the economy the way it is, it could be an opportunity to go to some sporting organisations, because it could be a chance for them to actually be able to do some fundraising and support some local families that can't afford the fee for their children for that. So I guess it's about knowing that you can support the community. You can also then, like, I think it's also very much about making sure that you can support the women in our community and making them feel good about themselves. So, giving them the opportunity to have a facial, a skincare consult, doing a daily, everyday makeup look. What does that look like? But I know that a lot of women probably jump at the chance to be able to do that. So I just want you thinking, like, and it might be that who are you connected with? That you can actually, in terms of family and friends, like what organisations are they in? Because if you've got someone in the know, then it obviously makes it much easier to be able to get in front of the board of trustees, or, the fundraising committee, or whatever that looks like. So, but I do think it's really important that you do lead generating at least every other month, so that you get these surges coming into your business with new customers and new VIPs in your business. So it's almost like, again, it's just, making sure that you're getting these, topping up, because our business is very much, it's like when you look at your customer bucket and your VIP bucket, they're buckets with little holes in them. So there's always someone dropping out. So you're always getting a little bit of loss every single month. So if you were to do a lead generating event every other month, then you can just sort of like fill it up to the brim. And then if it starts to sort of filter down in the next couple of months, well, you know that you've got another fundraiser coming, another lead generating event, you can just keep topping that up. I just think that's a really good analogy of our business, because that's exactly what it is. So lead generating is crucial. And then sponsoring, like, I think we talk about sponsoring. Do we do enough of it? Probably not. We need to do more sponsoring. And I think, certainly in Victoria, I think we have got, like, there is a big pool of people that probably know a lot about Nutrimedix over the past, 20, 30, 40 years. It's generational in a lot of cases. And so we need to be getting in front of, the daughters and, it's grandparents now that knew us. That's when we were at our peak. And so how do we get to those other generations as well? But a lot of people know what their mum or their gran or their auntie used to use. So we need to sort of get out there, and we need to sponsor more. We need to be asking more people if they want to open their own online shopping account or shopping account. Because if we can just open the door a little bit, then we know that we can obviously, they can get some wonderful rewards, they get deeper discounts, and then we can have other conversations as to what more would they like from the business. But it's actually about also just building people's confidence and making them feel great about themselves. And that's what we do particularly well. So, again, things that but we need reminding. What are the benefits of sponsoring? Well, one, to grow your business. And we know that that's going to give you team sales, which is going to allow some of those bonuses as you grow your business and become a group leader, an SGL, a sales manager, an executive sales manager that Lucia talked about last week. It's going to unlock some of those bonuses that you can get. So it means that you can start to increase your income, based on your team sales as well. Obviously, you get the opportunity to achieve the sponsors bonus, which is 4%, and you have that for 12 months when you sponsor a new person. So it's when you do 500 in a full calendar month, and they also do 500 in a calendar month. So, and again, some people are going to come on board and they're going to do a little bit, some are going to do a lot, some might do nothing, and some might just absolutely fly. And you'll be like, oh, now I've got to keep up with them. Oh my gosh, they're the best people to have. They keep you on your toes. But it is about helping others. It's about, there's a lot of people out there right now that are looking at closing, how do I close that gap on, what my mortgage was to where it is? And plus, food's gone up and then power's gone up and, everything is going up. And so there's definitely a deficit in a lot of households in terms of what the income is coming in and what they need in order to survive. And Nutrimedix can be that side hustle for them. And I know that, when we have been in recessions in the past, coming out of that recession is when Nutrimedix does, it just flies. We have done magnificent things. We have grown hugely. So we've got to start getting ourselves talking about, people opening their own accounts, saving money, earning some money. We've got to be using that terminology. Residual income. So if you grow a great team, you can go, like you're going to be getting some extra income because of what your team is doing. On top of it, you can control your personal sales. You can't always control your team sales. But if you've got a big enough team, then that just keeps coming in. You're there to mentor, to guide. And, for you girls who are growing your business, that's what your manager is there for too, to support you and give you that support, give you the ideas, give you the motivation. Sometimes just to sort of give you that, like, hey, what are we doing? We talked about this goal. We haven't achieved it. Where are we at? What do we need to do? So they're your conscience. I like to use the word conscience, so that just keeps us honest. Again, if you have your own business, growing a business, then you don't have to worry. You're building on that holiday pay, sick leave, maternity leave. All of those things are built in to your business, and you can do those things. You can go on holiday. You can, whenever you choose, you can have, go and see the kids playing sport, not have to actually feel nervous about having half day, asking your boss, doing all those things that, sometimes it can be incredibly stressful for a lot of people, and sometimes, you want to keep your sick leave and your holidays and that for actually when you're sick, for when you're going on holiday, but you don't always have that ability when, you're working for someone and, you need to, and you don't want to miss out on those events with your kids, with your family. So that's the great thing about what sponsoring can give you. It gives you choices, it gives you opportunity, and it gives you freedom to a large degree, in the sense that you can work when you want. You can work at night, you can work in the weekends and have days during the week free. So, all of that is built into the overall picture of what sponsoring can do. And so how do we sponsor and activate? And what do we use when we're sponsoring? Well, firstly, we've got to ask. And I think, we've got to be, I know that years ago there was, and I know many of you probably know this training. It's like, we sort of go through the day and we've got so much to do, and have we achieved all the things that we want to do? And I think sometimes it's about creating a little bit of a game with yourself. Like, I'm very much like that. If I need to achieve something, I make a deal with myself that I have to achieve it within a certain time. And I think when you're wanting to grow your business, and particularly when you're talking sponsoring, I love the idea of, having, like, I don't know, for me, it would be little hair ties, 5 little hair ties on my wrist. And every time I ask someone if they want to open their, open an account or open their online business, you transfer one of those bands to the other wrist. So they are your conscience, throughout the day. It's a visual conscience of, what am I doing? Am I doing what I've said I'm going to do? But, then the day gets away and you're like, the day's gone. Oh my God, I was going to make those phone calls and I didn't. And like, we've all done that, right? Like, it's just, our days are so full. So I think what you've got to do is you've actually got to take ownership and start, asking people to, open their own account and share your story. Like, why are you in the business? What brings you joy? What do you love about? And we do have a little worksheet of creating your own story. So I'm going to send that worksheet out so that can be something that you start building on. And it's just asking a whole lot of questions. But in the process, it's building your story as to why you join Nutrimetics and why you're doing what you do. And sometimes we just go, well, people don't want to know about that, but they actually do. And it comes down to your excitement and your energy and why you're doing it. So, I think, be mindful of that, that people, they love to hear, what is your story? Like, why are you in the business? And maybe you've been in the business a long time. Like, why are you still in the business? Like, I'm still in the business because I love the business. I love the people that I work with. It doesn't feel like I go to work every day. It just doesn't, And yeah, there's days where, might be a bit tougher than others, but oh my God, there's so few of those days and so many of the great days. So, like what brings you joy? And it might be, meeting someone and, and changing their life for the better because they never had that opportunity before. So, and when we look at who are our potential sponsors, it's everyone we meet. Absolutely everyone. I was at the hotel yesterday and I got in the elevator and it was a young lady and she was, went, oh, you're just finishing work for the day. She was obviously one of the ladies that, sort of go in and tidy your rooms and that. And she was like, yeah. And I said, oh, what time did you start? And she said, oh, 6:30. I said, oh gosh, it's been a long day for you. And we're just chatting, because I just tend to chat with everyone that I come across. And I just said, oh, we've just had just done this amazing beauty academy and been doing the skincare. And she's like, oh my God, what's the skincare and who do you work for? I was like, Nutrimetics. And she went, I know Nutrimetics. And I went, oh, you need to get in touch with me because honestly, it's an amazing product and you've got beautiful skin, but we've got makeup. And she's like, have you got a cut? Can you write down your number? And it's sometimes it's just as easy as that. Talking to a lady on the plane today and, and she was like, oh my God, I know Nutrimetics. Like, I just become Mrs. Have a Chat. And we used to talk about that, become Mrs. Have a Chat. It's exactly what we've got to go back to doing. Just having a chat because that's all you're doing. You're not pushing, Nutrimetics on people, but as you chat away to them and they get to know you, then they ask questions and then it just unfolds. So I think that's really important. Like your hairdresser, because it can often be people that are closest to you that have no idea what you do or don't even understand that you sell Nutrimetics on a part-time, full-time basis. So I think sometimes it's about putting it out there because if we don't put it out there, then they'll never know. And then they might talk to someone that has put it out there and they join with them or they start purchasing off them and they didn't even know that you sold Nutrimetics. That would be the worst thing that could happen. And it's happened. So I think we just got to just be a bit more vocal, just chat about it a bit more. And know the rewards program. We have now this one sheet that actually covers all the rewards that we have got. And so it just basically it's the 4 different rewards that they could get if they referred a friend. What is that product? I would actually print those off and laminate it back to back. So if you've got that at a workshop and someone's holding it up, then someone that's across from them is going to see all the goodies as well. So make sure that you are au fait with what they've got to do. And remember, when they place their first order, the first $20, the Nutri-Rich oil and the samples, they automatically attach now. However, reward 1, 2, 3, and 4 sit in the Sky wallet as a coupon and need to be attached with the next order. So they're not automatic. And the reason for that is that reward 1, 2, 3, and 4 are accumulative in sales. So we can't attach a coupon or a reward if it's accumulative. We can do it if it's one, like the thank you gift or the wonderful 25ml Nutri-Rich oil and sample sachets. So know what you're offering to and feel really comfortable about it. And if you're not, and again, practice on your upline, practice on, your friend, get your verbiage right and, and listen to what other people say, but then make it your own. So that it comes naturally and it flows off your tongue and you're not feeling like, which we can all do at times, right? So I think, like, you know, we've actually just got to put it out there, because if we don't put it out there, it's the best kept secret. And sometimes it still is the best kept secret. And I'm like, oh my God, how do we get it out there more? But yeah, it's definitely, so sponsoring is the key. And I thought, and I love this little saying about mindset, because, you know, I'm just going to have to move all my, the only thing that keeps you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. So if you don't believe that you're worthy of something, if you don't believe that you have the ability to do something, then you probably don't and won't get any further than what you're telling yourself. Sometimes it's a case of looking in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye. And I loved what Imelda said the other day. Sometimes you need to step back and take a little walk around yourself. Love that. Didn't you say that, Lucia? You need to just take a little walk around yourself, have a wee look at where you're at, and probably tell yourself another story. Tell yourself the story of where you want to go, not where you are at the moment or what's stopping you moving forward. So I've actually, like, I'm going to print that out and put that in my office. Take a little look around yourself, because I think sometimes we just get really comfortable where we are, and, you know, we don't sort of change, or when, you know, and sometimes we just got to stop and go, take a little look at myself. What do I need to do better? It might just be one little thing, but that one little thing could make a big difference as to where you end up and your outcome and how you're feeling. Maybe we all do that. Just take a little look at ourselves. Are we in a good place? Are we happy? What could we do better or not? And become the master of your mind instead of your mind being your master. And, you know, look, I think, you know, we can all be guilty of that sometimes. Menopause does terrible things to you, and like, you know, anyway. But it's, you know, it's actually believing in yourself too. And that's why I think you've got to come up with your own recipe in terms of what are you offering people? What are the products that you're working with? You know, how are you saying things? You know, I couldn't say what Lucia says because I'm not Lucia, you know, like I'm not Chris, I'm not Julie, I'm not Dawn. You know, you've got to be authentic, you've got to be yourself. And you've got to feel really comfortable about that, because people see that, and you've got to be honest. And I think, you know, people see through the BS these days, don't they? You know, to be honest, they want you to be real, but they want you to be genuine as well. And I think that, you know, that's what, you know, we do that really well because our products are amazing. We've got an incredible rewards program. Like, you've got all the tools. It's just a case of getting out there and sharing them and owning them and letting people know about them. Otherwise, they're just going to keep sitting there, and, you know, and your business is going to sit where it is and it's not going to grow. And as I said, we need to make sure that seesaw is balanced. And so every month I want you to look at how many customers have you got? How many consultants have I got? What are my team sales? And what are my personal sales? And then look at what your average is on both of those. If it's not where you want it to be, then what bucket do you need to fill? Is it more for your customers? Is it more for your team? Is it a bit of both? And in most cases, it's probably a little bit of both. You want to be topping up each bucket, as I said, every single month, so that you get that seesaw balanced. If it's out of balance. Remember, as a kid on those seesaws, if it was out of balance, it was not comfortable, right? You're sitting up in the air or you're sitting on the tire. So you need to keep that balanced. So always, I think if you start the month knowing what your numbers are, and then you get to the end of the month and you think, okay, what have I topped up? And that keeps you honest. Understand at the beginning of the month, how many do I want to have in each of those buckets? At the end of the month, what do I need to do on a weekly basis? What am I doing on a daily basis? Have your 5 rubber bands or your hair ties on your wrist and transfer them over. And maybe you're doing that every week. So you know that you've asked 5 people every week, would they like to open their own account? Would they like to actually be part of your, customer base. So 5 customers a week, 5 consultants a week. Oh my God, your business will be flying out the water. Be amazing. That's what we want. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge, because I think, sometimes, as I said, we can do all this training, but we've actually got to start applying it. I'd love you ladies to book 3 workshops to be held over the next 2 weeks. You've just done, for most of you, I know you've done a skincare masterclass. Pick a range, pick a theme, book some skincare. It's the time of the year where you could say to people, look, it's probably been a while since we did a skincare update. How about we do that in the next couple of weeks? And just get a couple of friends together. So we'll do a U+2. So it's you and a couple of friends. So you've got 3 people at the workshop. And if they all brought a friend, but be comfortable with the numbers. So if you feel comfortable with three people, keep it at 3. If you feel comfortable with 6, then you can extend it. Because at this time of the year, you'll find that you will get sickness coming through, and so there will be drop-offs. So you almost want to ask for a few more people coming to your workshops and a few less. So, and then I want you to really think about booking a lead generating or a fundraising event. And, like fundraising events take a little bit of organizing. So, putting together or contacting a organization and just talking through the logistics of what that looks like. And I'm more than happy to talk to anyone individually as to what that would look like. And, and if because I've got quite a few vouchers and that sort of thing that I could send through, I'd be more than happy. So please reach out. Be happy to talk with you and your upline manager and come up with some, literature that you could use. Just talk through the logistics of how that would work so that you feel really comfortable and can move forward on that based on what's relevant to you in your regional area. So that is a little bit of an overview of and sponsoring, and I think it's something that is relevant to all of us in the business at any given time, and we just need to keep reviewing it and thinking, what are we doing or what are we not doing that we should be doing? But is that seesaw balanced? And that's a question I want to be asking you to be asking yourself at the beginning of every single month. So you've got a real clear picture of where your business is sitting and what difference that could make at the end of the month, just by popping some extra customers and VIPs into those buckets and extending your businesses. So I'm going to stop sharing. And you can all unmute yourselves, but we've gone a bit over, so I do apologise for that. But I just think it was sort of, thank you so much for sharing at the beginning, Lucia. That was just wonderful to hear your experience. And and I hope that that's given you some food for thought, some ideas. Any questions? All feeling really positive about it, though, aren't you? All going to go out and book a whole lot of workshops, like lead generating, oh my God, it's going to be busy. I know it is. And it's, Jackie, I like you. Yes. Oh my God, I can't wait to, hear what your little goals are. I saw in the chat. What's that, sorry?
I just booked 2 while you were talking.
Just on the phone. Did you just text people? Oh my God, you're amazing. Oh my God, love you. Okay, we need to keep us updated what's going on so that we can all support you. And okay, so everyone else, get out there, get on the phones, talk to those people because it's that time of the year where, oh my gosh, it'd be so nice just to be pampered. Like, how good was it yesterday? Oh, fantastic. So anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I promise I will post the recording tomorrow. It's been a bit of a busy couple of week, but lovely to see you all tonight. So and see you next Monday.
Thanks, Catherine. It was great.
Yeah. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Good to see you all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.